Good morning, sports fans from all around the world and globe. This is Jeff Dawson, your host of the Breakfast Bankroll, East Coast sports investors from Cape Cod to Cancun, from Vegas to the Vatican. We got you covered. And what better way to start our day than giving you a breakdown? And without further ado, the man with the plan from Tampa, the one, the only Scott E. Webb. Scotty, my brother, what is happening?
Morning, Jeff. How are you today, man?
I'm doing fine. Yourself?
I am doing really well. Decided to wear the hat today. Just thought sometimes I feel like I miss my hat. You know, wearing hats all the time. So haven't worn a hat on the show for a while. So I figured, hey, look, it's time to wear a hat.
Looks great. Much appreciated. Last night, to everyone that followed us yesterday, hats off. You can keep yours on, though, of course. We broke down the Home Run Derby. Kind of comical that the first guy I said to you that intrigued me, Juan Soto, the round of the probably the round of the next 5 years. I mean, an epic war against the favorite Shoei. I saw a lot of people out there posting their plus 185, plus 190 first round matchups. Soto was able to beat him, but you knew he would be out of gas in that second round. Also added the fact, we talked about Trey Mancini and what a story he has from the cancer to where he is today. But we eventually came to the point where an Alonso, Gallo, Alonso. And so I think by first pitch, you could have got Alonso at around plus 450, 500. We sent out on our alert. But overall, your thoughts on the Home Run Derby?
Well, I thought it was entertaining. I mean, I think that when you look at it, all the higher seeds lost except, well, even in the first round. I mean, even when you look at it, Alonso was not a higher seed than was the catcher from the Royals. So he was I think 4, and then Alonso was 5. So all of the lower or higher seeds won the first round compared to the lower seeds, and then I thought that was kind of interesting. And then I thought, well, if you're really talking about a home run competition and you're looking at it from a perspective of the best home run hitters in the game of baseball, and you're looking at Juan Soto, and you're looking at Trey Mancini, and you're looking at Alonso, and who was the other one that made the finals there? It was the next round. It was and Trevor Story. I mean, so you have those 4 guys are your top guys left in the home run derby, representing all of baseball as the best home run hitters in all the sport. And I'm sitting here going, oh my goodness, it's not, that's not representative of the home run hitters, but it's representative of the home run derby. So they played it out. They had fun. It is what it is. I don't know. It's just it's an exhibition. So I took it that way, and I had fun watching it that way. And I think most people did. I think most people were not happy with ESPN on how they showed the event and brought the event. I thought it was kind of hard to watch because it's on one side of the screen you got a guy hitting the ball. On the other side of the screen you got a cameraman trying to follow the ball, and he's not doing a very good job of that. And then you can't tell how far they went, and then you don't even know if they hit home runs because they throw a pitch and they don't follow it all the way over the fence, and then he's throwing another pitch, and then you got to watch the tally thing. And I'm like, this is complicated, and it just wasn't a good presentation.
And where today's game is, I had a show later yesterday, and we talked about where the NBA is. And I talked about the NBA where, unfortunately, in today's game, it's all about your brand, your sneaker deal, and your NBA 2K numbers, if
Mhm.
they're not where they're supposed to be. And so where I was going with this is this, Alonso now has won back-to-back years. His payroll for the Mets last year and this year is $675,000, and he just got paid. He just won $1 million for winning the home run derby. So he's winning more for a 2 hour exhibition, making more for a 2 hour exhibition than he is, for putting in the 162 game grind.
Yeah, some of these spectacles and events and things to get viewership and to get participants to play, they got to give them an award, right? Most of those guys aren't going to be in that spot where $1 million is going to affect them. It's kind of, and when you think about some of these guys like Ken Griffey Jr., right? He's won 3 times, but when he won the 3 times, boy, was he fun to watch. And they're home run hitters. I mean, they're absolutely home run hitters. The guy that was with the Texas Rangers there that went crazy that one year. For the life of me, I can't forget his name. It just popped in my head a minute ago. But these guys are all big home run guys, and it's interesting. We talked about the size of these guys. And Trevor Story made it through, and Mancini made it through, and they're the smaller of the guys that were there, and the bigger guys just didn't quite get there, except Alonso. So I don't know. It's kind of like the dunk contest in the NBA anymore. The good dunkers don't want to dunk on it, don't do it anymore. Everybody wants to do a 3-point contest or something. So maybe Major League Baseball should do something else. So make it more entertaining. Like let's see how many home runs Bumgarner can hit or something like that. Throw a pitcher or two out there and see, and have their own level of competition amongst themselves or whatever, and see what they can do in terms of hitting the home runs. And we talked about a skills competition and stuff like that. Maybe that'll show what the real talent of these players are.
I was trying to look up who you were talking about, and I drew a blank. He had a substance abuse problem, and I can't.
He was drafted by the Rays, and then he went to play for the Reds, and then he didn't make it for the Reds. He got traded to the Rangers. Then he hit all them home runs. I know who it is. I just can't think of his name right off the top of my head.
When the show's over, it'll pop in my head. What we wanted to do today is we wanted to go over where we are on the break. Take a look at some standings. I have BetMGM up again, who has the current odds to win the AL and NL, and also to win the World Series. Maybe pick and choose, maybe some value. Just overall, your thoughts moving forward. You sent some emails. I'm trying to bring some of them up. They didn't look the greatest, so it'll be hard to see, but we'll see what we can do today there, Scotty.
Well, I tend to look at numbers like that, and when I'm trying to procrastinate the future here, you kind of want to look at some different things. And one of the things that I kind of like to look at is, what does Fangraph show? What does Pacoda show? Because those two models seem to be pretty good. And it was kind of interesting when I put them together. The Fangraphs model basically says what we've been talking about all the time. It's got Boston, the White Sox, and the Astros winning. Tampa Bay and Oakland. Those guys are going to be the wild card, with New York, Toronto, and LA as the ones that are going to be sort of in the mix, so to speak, but really kind of out. They got to do something to get there. And then the National League, it's just like we said. I mean, it's Mets, Brewers, Dodgers, and San Francisco Giants and San Diego Padres, and then everybody else. So then when you switched it over, and I looked at the Pacoda numbers, because their numbers are a little different. The Pacoda numbers had Tampa Bay winning the East, and had Boston and the New York Yankees as wild cards in the AL, with Oakland, Toronto, and Los Angeles just missing out. And then they had the National League exactly the same way. So based off of sort of projections kind of numbers, I would tell you that looking at some of the numbers that might be of value is with Boston being sort of a favorite right now. I think Boston's a little bit of a favorite to win the American League East. It's minus 115. I don't know what number you got there, but it should be reasonably close to the same number. And that means that then if you were to put some money on Tampa Bay at plus 125, at least you have a dog in the fight to try to get there. And then if you really wanted to try to take it out, I thought the interesting one was the Chicago White Sox, because the number I saw said White Sox minus 1,300 to win the Central, but yet they were plus 225 to win the pennant. And you and I have been keep talking about these White Sox, and I think the White Sox have just as good a chance as any, and I guess the odds are kind of that way because the Astros are plus 225 as well, followed by Boston and then the Rays. So if you're looking at value, it's kind of hard to just put that stuff into perspective. So another way to look at it is when you look at teams. I'm not sure. I've got a website up that's just MajorLeagueBaseball.com, and they have a category that says X minus W/L. And what it is that's the projected wins and losses based on runs scored. So what's interesting that I see here is a team like the New York Yankees. They should have won 45 games, and they've won 46. So that puts them well behind. A team like Toronto, they should have won 50 games, and they've only won 45. So that means to me that the Toronto Blue Jays are a team that's got more fight in them right now, or a better situation than what the Yankees do, because they've got to overcome a run differential that the Yankees run differential is plus one. So I mean, at least it's on the good side, I guess. But the Toronto Blue Jays are plus 72, for example. And the other interesting thing was the Boston Red Sox are plus 57, so they should have won 51 games where they've won 55. So if you think about that from a different level of, okay, then there should only be one game difference between Boston and Toronto, and Tampa at plus 85 should be at 54 wins. So those three teams to me are the teams that are going to make a difference. And I don't know where the value is. The value would be on the ones that aren't the favorite. So Tampa Bay and Toronto, I think, would be of value in terms of the AL East. And who knows what's going to happen with the trade deadline. But you and I talked about it yesterday. I don't think Boston's going to do a lot. I don't think Tampa Bay does a lot no matter what. And I think Toronto can go out and do whatever they want. So Toronto could be one of these teams that get one of these good pitchers or get two good pitchers. And then all of a sudden they're right there competing for the AL East at the end. And that wouldn't surprise me. So a Toronto number would be probably of value in a certain way there, as far as I'm concerned, for the AL East.
So when I take a look here at the American League, we've been kind of hitting this drum for a while now, and without even knowing what these teams are going to do at the trading deadline. We've talked at length the Red Sox through a handful of people in our circles. They're not going to make a major move. They're not going to risk the farm system. They know they have Sale coming back. They have Duran down in the minors. They have some pieces that they're comfortable with without mortgaging the farm here. We talk about the White Sox with Eloy, probably about a month till he comes back. He's already rehabbing now as we speak. The chance of Roberts coming back. We've talked about their front three. I think they'll be looking for another arm, whether it's middle to long, or if someone's discounting someone in the back end, you can't say no to that. So even with the White Sox price of it at plus 325, if you're looking closely at these numbers, They're the second favorite right now behind the Stros. Mattress Max already got 5 million on the Astros. He wants to get another 5 million on it. So that will be the show moving forward there. And I think I like to say pizza and beer money. They're giving you some gifts, and we'll get to the NL. But the Red Sox at plus 500. Yes, we're waiting for the wheels to fall off. They're in first. They got a game and a half lead on your Rays. It does you no problem. They're giving you plus 500. Are they going to win the American League? Probably not. But you're getting better value at them at plus 500 than you are the Yankees at plus 1,000, 10 games back, waiting for this miracle run. And I'm not saying it's not going to happen either. They're built to win. They got to figure out the back end between Green, Chapman, okay? And if it was any other team, Scott, other than named the Yankees, that number would be plus 2,500. That would be plus 2,000. But since it's the Yankees and they have so much action on them to start the year, people are saying, well, I didn't get in then. Let's get in now. Let's hold that ticket. Let me show them that I still believed in the Yankees.
Well, it's a weird thing because Fangraphs has these projections that they come out and they show them in regards to here's what they've got for the current season, here's what the projected full season is, and then here's what the projected rest of the season is, right? So you can look at the 70 to 74 games that are left for each team. And in the American League, just going by win percentage, the New York Yankees, they have them at 568 as a win percentage in those 73 games. So they think they're going to go 41-32 over the 73 games that are left. In terms of who that compares to, well, the Houston Astros are 40-31 in their 70 games, which is 562. Nobody else. So they think that the Yankees are going to then get a run differential of plus 50 in those last 73 games. So that's how it comes to the agreement at the end where they're just right there, and it depends on who does whatever. That's a lot to ask, where they are now and what they're going to be, and if they're going to be the best team in the American League in the second half, they need some help because the team, the way it's constructed now, is not going to get there. We've talked about some of these issues with some of these teams, and they're one of them, that their players just don't produce like they thought they would. You remember when they got Stanton and have Judge, there were bets out there if those two guys were going to get over 100 between the two of them, home runs, 50 and 50. They've never even come anywhere close. They haven't been on a field enough times to hit 30 home runs each, I don't think. So as when they start to look at them from a perspective of what they do and who does what, that's just a bad put together a team of players that don't necessarily play together. So I'm discounting the Yankees altogether. I don't think the Yankees are going to make it. I don't think they're going to make the wild card. And I think it would be a bad investment for somebody to go out and try to get that 1,000, plus 1,000 on them. It doesn't make too much sense to me there. I don't like it that way anyway.
No, I mean, if I would suggest personally anyone not on the White Sox to get some investments on the White Sox. I think they're set up perfect there, especially with the Twins going to be sellers. And I think most likely that the Indians are going to be sellers. They're going to be able to set up rotation. They're going to be adding pieces to the puzzle as the season progresses, into August and September. And again, I think, if you're not in on the Astros and the chalk, which I'm not taking anything away from them. I think clearly they have a long lineup They have the starting pitch. Well, they don't have the starting pitching that they used to have, but they got guys that throw hard, that can throw strikes, and they can get you 4, 5, 6 innings. Uh, and they're long enough, I think, in the back end that it's going to be tough to beat them in a 4 game series. But again, if you want to get in on the AL East, the Sox at plus 500 or even your Rays, I think is where the value is instead of, again, trying to grab the wild card with the Yankees, 10 games back, 10 and a half games back.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, I believe that. And it's kind of interesting that we talk about a lot of these teams and, the Oakland A's are a good team, but we're discrediting them. They're not going to make it unless they get in as a wild card. The Angels, they're not going to make it. The long shot that I have is Toronto Blue Jays. And then I think that just like what we just said, you got to get money on the White Sox. And if you want to play just in the American League East, it doesn't hurt to be on the Red Sox or the Rays. I mean, that's just put the money out there, sprinkle it a little bit and see what happens.
And I will say this, one wild card. And with your Rays, for example, I don't think, and I don't want this to be about the Yankees, but the Yankees have the resources and under the assumption that the Nationals become sellers. And the fact is that if they were to move Max, that I don't think they'd keep him in the National League unless the Dodgers just, backed up the dump truck and they gave him 4 or 5 prospects, which again, the Dodgers can do. But a Max for a Toronto team would be like lightning. And the Yankees, that might be the spark plug that they needed. The Cortez kid has been amazing as first 2 starts that I've seen. So maybe they got some kids to piece this together, but a Mad Max, we've talked about Torres and his 6 homers. There's pieces, there's guys that have not played well, that have high expectations, that I think the break did them well. They're not at the All-Star game. Get some rest. And the first 4 games, Thursday through Sunday, will set them up. Do they go 3-1? Do they go 4-0? Or again, if they go 0-4 against the Red Sox, they might as well become sellers and just, move on, get ready for next year. But they've been gifted with the first 4 games against the Sox so they can set the tone themselves.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I 100% agree that the Yankees can control their destiny if they win these few games right at the start. I shouldn't say control the destiny. They can put an impact in what they're trying to accomplish, and then they can really reevaluate what kind of talent they can bring in to help solidify them down to make a run. And that's part of what our dilemma here is, Jeff. When we're trying to find value in these games and these teams, is what are they going to do? What a GM is going to do to make a run. And make these fan bases happy and or make the investors happy. So I just look at it like the Yankees over the last 6 or 7 years have not been run where they go out and they just make a big dive. They got Garrett Cole, but they've passed up on tons and tons and tons of different guys. And, when you got Mike Tauchman playing and he's playing every day, and Tyler Wade and these guys for the New York Yankees, for God's sakes, and Aaron Hicks batting third and stuff like that. I just think that whatever they're doing, they're kidding themselves if they think they're being as good, efficient talent evaluators and or sabermetric type development guys as the Rays. They're just not. You can't outraise the Rays. I'm just telling you. So when you're doing that stuff, you really have to figure out who you are and what you're about. And I don't think the Yankees have been in any way, shape, or form a team that what they're going to be. That year they I think it was 2 years ago, they were raced with the Minnesota Twins to hit the most home runs in the league. And okay, so they were the Bronx Bombers then. Okay, well, where'd that all go now? It's the same players. They haven't changed anything, right? They're the same guys, but now they can't hit home runs. But that's how reliant they became on how they scored runs, that now strikeouts are okay. and home runs are great. But then when you don't hit home runs, they ask why they lose. Well, it's because they strike out all the time.
Moving to the National League, okay? There's a lot of question marks. You have stated numerous times that you think the National League is all locked up. When I look strictly at the numbers, again, we don't have that crystal ball, but we try to stay ahead of the game. We try to speculate, okay? So you look at the Braves at plus 2,500, no Acuna. Hey, I'm out. I'm out on them. We a few weeks ago jumped in on the Nationals when they were on their hot run, and then all of a sudden Schwarber goes down, Turner gets nicked up, and now they probably are going to become sellers. We've already heard that the Cubs are going to become sellers. Okay, the Reds are the talk of last week. They go into Milwaukee. They beat Hader the last two games. Castillo is back in form. You have talked at length about the Milwaukee starting staff. And then the fact of the matter is, if Milwaukee has that lead going into the 6th and 7th, they're pretty much lights out, unless Hader again has that second half swow where he starts to get hit again, and now their hands are tied there. So where I'm looking at this is, if you had a few units to invest and you wanted to play safe, you look at the Dodgers plus 175. Well, guess what? The Bauer thing's not going away. They added another 7 days, so he's at 14 days, and that onion is getting longer, okay? I don't know if he's coming back. I don't know if he doesn't come back, do they pick up the phone to Washington? Hey, what do you want for Max? That's just how the Dodgers roll. But for me, I think the Padres are leaking. We talked about the Red Sox in the plus 500. They're giving you a gift with the Giants again, plus 650. Don't look the gift horse in the mouth. Sprinkle some beer and pizza money on that, and then work back from there. There's some good numbers out there. The Mets are at plus 450. Their starting staff of the best pitcher in the game with DeGrom. Walker's been pitching lights out. They have Stroman. Do they catch lightning in a bottle? You've talked about the Brewers at length. The Phillies, who now are looking at the fact that, hey, maybe we're the second best team in the East. Do they pick up the phone to the Cubs and say, hey, what do you want for Kimbrel? Because we know they need back-end help. They need arms, and more arms. So just taking a quick look here, Scotty. What's your thoughts in the NL?
No, I think that the divisions are done. I mean, we've talked about that, but I think that where you want to look at is how do the divisional winners then get themselves ready for a pennant run, and who can strengthen those teams. So when I was kind of looking at the numbers that I saw was the Dodgers are plus 175. The Milwaukee Brewers 550, 450 for the Mets. I'm not sold on the Dodgers being plus 175 or being so super dominant that a 10 or a trio like what Milwaukee can throw at them can't hold them down. What I would love to see is where Milwaukee can get creative and go find a big bat. Find like the Joey Gallo that everybody keeps talking about for the Yankees, and they want to trade. Everybody wants to trade Joey Gallo. Okay, well, he's going to hit 40 home runs, but he's going to strike out 200 times. But he's going to have 100 RBIs. So you need 100 RBI guys. So if you can live with the strikeouts and he hits the home runs, guys like that are going to be available. You just have to figure out how they fit into your team. But the Brewers, they need some run producing on offense to let those three guys be dominant on the mound. And if you do that, I think that they have a competitive chance against a team like the Dodgers. I think they're already competitive against the Mets. So when it comes to what they're going to have to face, they might have to face the Padres or somebody like that in as a wild card guy kind of game or whatever before they play the Dodgers on the end. But I really do. I think Milwaukee at plus 550 is is a reasonable opportunity. Not that I think they're going to go out and spin the world and get this dynamite player, but I do think that those three pitchers are going to be tough to handle over the course of trying to win four. And you throw Woodruff and then Burns and then Peralta. Right now, at the beginning of the season, the Dodgers could match up with that. Right now, the Dodgers can't match up to that. So who matches up to that lineup of pitchers? You talked about the Mets; they would be pretty close. But the Syndergaard thing got pushed back, so I don't even know if he's going to be ready to go. And the Mets don't have that much offense either. So I kind of like the idea that the Brewers have a legitimate chance to actually come out of the National League.
And I agree with that. The one thing that I'm a little nervous is Hader. There were rumblings in the offseason that Milwaukee was shopping him and just trying to get feelers. And it made me wonder, is there something wrong with that arm back there? Excuse me. And then the last two games, he blows the last two games. And when this guy's on, forget about it. I hate to go against the Brewers knowing the fact that they get a one-run lead. They have enough arms back there. And whenever he gets in, it's like turn the page. Offensively, you said they're struggling. The addition of Jackie Bradley Jr., I have to laugh as a Red Sox guy. Hura is struggling. Yelich has been in and out with his back. At least he's playing. They don't have the Younts and Ogilvies of the day that could, get two guys on and get that 3-run homer. They are trending in the right direction. Again, the division is set up for them. When you're wheeling those three arms out, I mean, it's a blessing. And in the second half, as the season progresses, you need the starters to give you some length so you can protect that back end in the bullpen. And I think the more that these guys can do, the less innings on Hader, the better off they'll be in September. But I agree with you with that. And so my final thoughts on the NL for me is you have to get at least a little piece of the Giants. They're not going to win the West. I think that they're definitely going to make the playoffs. They're a great story. They're gifting you the plus 650. I agree with you with the Brewers plus the 500. We're at ECSI already have some national stock. Unfortunately, it looks like we could be in trouble there. Wouldn't buy on the Reds at this point just because their back end is so bad. And again, with the Mets, Walker and Stroman have been pitching great. DeGrom is DeGrom. We know that. Diaz, again, again, you get him with a 1-2 run lead in the ninth. It's not safe. But I agree with your assumption. So final thoughts, National League, wrap it up in the American League. Give the guys, the listeners, something to hold on to here today.
Well, I think that the only other thing that we haven't even talked about, Jeff, is that we are through the midway point now. They have made, I think, 18 or 19 starts if you're a starting pitcher that started most of the time. Looking at the innings pitched leaderboard as of right now, they're at a point where they have thrown 119 innings is what Zach Wheeler has thrown, which is the most, and then Bassett and Alcantara has thrown 118, 116. The projections only show that 2 to 3 guys are going to throw 200 innings. So the question is going to be is where are these guys going to also, what performance level are they going to be able to uphold? Because they're already, the guy who threw the most last year was Lance Lynn. He threw 80 some innings. I think it was 86, something like that. And they're already at 119 as the most. So we're already 30 innings beyond that. So the question becomes is where does that line of delineation start where they start to go, okay, let's back these pitchers off. I don't know if that's even going to happen. Based off the projections, there's guys that are going to throw, there's 30 of them that are going to throw 190 innings this year. So I didn't expect that. So as we kind of go through it, it's just going to have to see how that kind of plays out. But if all the things we talked about being said, I think there's a couple of things you can't miss. You have to put money on the White Sox. I don't think that there's a. I think that's a definite, and I think it depends on what your taste is like, because I don't mind putting money on the Brewers, and just like you said, there's value in some of these other situations. There's value in putting money on the Red Sox and on the Rays. There's value in putting money on the Giants, but at the same time that there's value in doing some of those things, you also have to have a taste for what your bankroll looks like and how long you want to leave the money in there, because you're not going to be paid out on these bets for a while. So you want to play wager smart. You want to kind of do the things that you want to do. But if I'm doing it, I'm saying White Sox, I'm saying Brewers. I do like your ideas about the Blue Jay, or about the Rays, and I liked it about the Red Sox. And then you got to start thinking about, okay, if you're right in thinking that the GM of the Toronto Blue Jays is going to go out and get a pitcher, you can get plus 1,000 on them. So that's a long shot that you might want to take a shot at too.
And what I would like to close with here, and you're 100% spot on. Let's move over to here for 1 second. Exit. It's funny because we're getting to that time of year where football's coming. Okay, so everyone's an expert, and everyone's got all the futures, the under-overs for the NFL. They try to get a handful of the college, who's going to be in the Final Four, who's going to win the college. And then you look that they're 10, 15 deep, and they're tying your money up, to January 1st, to January 14th. In baseball, the World Series doesn't end till the end of October. So if you got, 5 or 6 futures in MLB, then you're an NFL guy. Next thing you know, you got a sheet this long, and then you look, you only get $200 to play with because your credit limit was $2,000, and it's all tied up in futures. What I like about futures, and what we do here very well at East Coast Sports Investors, is, let's say you're holding a Giants plus 650 ticket, and the Giants win the wild card game, and now you're into a series against the Mets, and the Mets are plus 125. You can then start some hedge probabilities. Hey, I got a Giants plus 650 here. We can put some money on the Mets plus the 125 in the series. And hey, if the Giants lose, we're at least covering the Giant ticket, and you might get a little profit on the Mets moving forward, et cetera, on the White Sox, the Jays, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, no, I mean, those are perfect examples of how you hedge to get yourself to a point where you can all win no matter what. So it becomes one of those scenarios, though, you can't win no matter what unless you don't have something to play it against. So that's where, professionals out there do this all the time. They are always trying to weigh cost versus return. And if you see all the losing tickets that these guys have, they're stacks this thick. But that's because they only have stacks of winners that are about this big. But those winners that are this big covered all those stacks that are this big because they know where their money's at, and they know how to manage the business of betting. And that's two different stories, that the way you manage your bets and your bankroll is not the same as picking the winners. It's not. They're two different things. You have to separate them. So once you pick your winner of what you want to do and how you want to strategize your day, then you got to go in and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do to manage my bankroll to match my plays. And as you go down, having futures bets allows you to do some fun things that you wouldn't necessarily normally do. Like yesterday, prop bets on the home run derbies. That's just fun stuff to do. It's not necessarily that you're the smartest guy in the world if you pick the winner, but the reality is as you go forward, though, on a season long bet, if you then make another bet to counteract that bet, you can win twice. Let alone just win once and cover that one losing bet. So how you handle what you do as a bettor, it has a lot to do with whether you win or lose, regardless of how many winning picks you have.
And I'll close with this, and it's so true. And unfortunately, in social media, the degens of the world are just getting blindsided. They're seeing these 10, 12, 15-legged parlays win. They're seeing these huge future tickets win. At the end of any league and championship, there's only one winner. The rest are trash. They're confetti. They're beer coasters. Okay. True story here closing. Okay. 2 years ago, Kansas City beat the 49ers 31-20. A gentleman chose a winning ticket of $1,000 that paid, let's say, 30-1, picking the exact score, 31-20. Okay. I reached out to him and congratulated him. Hey, hell of a score. Okay. And I was like, can you be honest with me? What was your net? Because I know that wasn't your only ticket. He goes, Jeff, thanks for the congrats. To be perfectly honest with you, I lost money on this proposition. So the prop swaps of the world and everyone on social media run into the windows, where someone 2 years ago had Texas Tech, $1,500 at 100 or 200 to 1 to win the college basketball. Okay. He's got 30 or 40 other tickets at 1,500 to 1. The degens, they don't get it. There's no one that, like, the Open starts on Thursday, the British Open and the PGA. There's 156 golfers. Okay. I don't care if you're Nick Faldo right now, and I said, Nick, give me the winner. I will guarantee you, and you can take Rahm if you wanted, you're not going to run to the window and have that one golden ticket. It happens, but it's a 1% chance, and that's what they're trying to sell you.
Yeah, and that's what's wrong with. Shouldn't say it's wrong. That's not really the right way. That's the way things are presented in this business. So as a listener and or as a bettor, it's good to understand there are guys out here that will sort of decipher some of that information and then help you through when you're in those right spots to make those suggestions and do that stuff. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's what you and I like to do. We do things differently, but at the same time that we do things differently, we are not in competition with each other. We're just here to help everybody win. And what your ideas suggest and what my ideas suggest, some people will go, holy crap, this is the wrong stuff. I want to play all these parlays. Okay, great. Go do what you want to do. I mean, that's what. There's not one way to skin a cat, but there is a lot of different ways to lose. And the truth of the matter is you have to be very disciplined. You have to understand where your money's at. You have to understand how your money works. And that's what you're betting. You're making money off of your money. So if you put money in the wrong place, you're never going to expect to make money off of money that way. You have to put money in the right place. If you put it in the right place, then you can expect to make money. And if you don't put it in the right place, and then you don't match it up to when you have another bet, say later on down the road, that you can offset some of that stuff with, that's where you're not being smart about how to do things in your bankroll, what your portfolio of odds and stocks look like. That the truth of the matter is, you need to know some of these are going to be over in a week. Some of these are going to be over in 3 months. Some of these are going to be over in 8 months, like a baseball season. Some of them happen in 3 hours. So it's a matter of how do you manage all of your money to offset losses and create more wins. And the truth is that it's not easy, but you have to analyze what you do and put your money in right. Because if you put it in wrong and then expect a win, you're just crazy.
No, and what you're saying is 100% true. Here at ECSI, we are the educators, not the entertainers. We always say we save that for ESPN, for Fox, for that Stephen A. Smith guy that's just talking out of the side of his neck right now. We could talk for hours about that. But again, it becomes the chase game. It becomes the quicksand. Oh my God! The Bucks and the Suns. The Suns went up 2-0, so our Bucks plus 650 future is out the window. Well, no, it isn't. The Suns just held serve. They won the first two damn games. It's not a series till a road team breaks. So, but people panic, and then they got to go and they got to flip over to the other side, and then when the other team wins two in a row, now they're sitting there scratching their head and they don't know who they're rooting for. But that's for another day. So anyways, thanks everyone that listened and watched today. Tomorrow we are blessed and honored to have the real Vegas Dave Sharapan at Sportsbook Consig. We will be live at noon, 9 a.m. West Coast time. Scotty, we're wishing you the best today. I know you'll be checking in with us the rest of the week. When you're ready, we're ready. We're going to get ready for the second half of the season, which officially starts on Thursday with the one game, but the real season kicks back in on Friday. And I know you'll be back with us at least for the weekend where we start breaking down some more games. So to you, have a great week. Everyone else here, again, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and now Twitch at Jeff D66. Until tomorrow, have a blessed day. Always wager with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, reach out and call someone.